long before the children of Obalanga walked barefoot on its red soil. Before huts dotted the plains and the village drums beat in joyous festivals, the land belonged to a king whose name was whispered with both fear and loathing. His name was Obanalu, the Iron King. He had ruled not with kindness, but with cruelty, his crown heavier than iron chains, his heart blacker than the night when the moon hid her face. Under his reign, Obalanga was not yet the humble farming village it had become. It was a city of warriors and slaves, its walls high, its gates dripping with blood. Obanalu demanded sacrifices at every full moon. Not goats, not cows, not even slaves captured from neighboring lands. No, he demanded his own people. Men, women, children, to feed the gods, he claimed, to secure his throne, to keep the river flowing and the rains falling. Those who resisted vanished into his dungeons, never to return. Those who obeyed lived in fear of whose name would be called next. But the gods do not smile forever on blood-soaked hands. It began with famine. The river that once sparkled like a snake of silver dried into cracked earth. The sky that once blessed the land with rain turned its face away, scorching crops to ash. Mothers pressed empty breasts into the mouths of their wailing infants. Men scoured the forest for roots, rats, anything to fill their bellies. Yet Obanalu blamed not himself. He claimed his people were faithless, that their cries had angered the ancestors. He doubled the sacrifices, twice a moon, hearts were cut from trembling chests. The priests muttered. The elders trembled. The warriors bowed. None dared to challenge him openly. Until one night, the moon refused to rise. The sky was an endless pit of blackness. Not a single star shone. The people took it as a sign. The ancestors had turned their faces away. In that darkness, rebellion was born. A group of warriors, led by the high priest Orica, crept into the king's palace. They moved like shadows, their machetes silent, their hearts pounding. For years they had suffered his cruelty. For years they had buried their children. Now, with famine devouring them, death seemed a kinder fate than obedience. Obanalu sat on his throne of ivory and bones, drunk on palm wine, surrounded by concubines too afraid to flee. When Orica entered, torchlight flickering on his wrinkled face, the king laughed. "Do you dare raise hand against me, priest? I am the chosen of the gods. My blood is fire, my breath is thunder. Who among you thinks you can strike me down?" But the warriors did not falter. They rushed upon him. Steel flashed. Cries echoed. The palace walls shuddered with the sound of rebellion. Obanalu fought like a beast. With his own hands he broke a warrior's neck. With his own teeth he tore another's ear. He laughed as blades pierced his flesh, roaring, "You cannot kill a god, but gods fall." And when he fell, the earth seemed to sigh in relief. His blood soaked the ground. His body, great and terrible, lay still. The people wept not in sorrow, but in relief, for the reign of terror had ended. Orica, standing over the corpse, raised his bloodied hands to the heavens. "Ancestors, forgive us! Accept this tyrant as our offering! End our famine!" The people cheered, weeping, embracing one another. They thought the curse was ended. But vengeance is not so easily buried. The priests gathered the king's body for burial, but Orica, the high priest, hesitated. His eyes lingered on the chest of the Iron King, where the heart had once thundered with cruelty, and a thought, dark as night, crept into his mind. What if, he whispered to himself, this heart still hungers? What if his spirit lingers, unbroken? What if death is not enough? That night, in secret, Orica performed a forbidden rite. With a blade of obsidian, he cut open the king's chest and carved out the bones of his ribcage. He stretched his skin, toughened by years of war, over the hollowed wood of Iroko. He boiled his sinews into cords, lashing them tight. He shaped the drum not from trees, but from flesh. When it was done, he placed the Iron King's skull beside it, and he whispered, "As you devoured us, so shall you devour still. Let no one forget the terror of your reign. Let your hunger feed the lesson that power is never without price. Speak, O drum. Speak with the voice of the king who thought himself a god." The first strike was deafening. Not the hollow tone of wood, but the deep throb of something alive. The villagers nearby screamed, claiming they heard words instead of rhythm. The cursed drum was born. For years it was hidden, locked away in the shrine of the ancestors. But even there, it whispered. At midnight, when all was still, it would mutter names. Sometimes of children not yet born. Sometimes of warriors who had not yet marched to war. Sometimes of chiefs who sat fat and greedy, thinking their thrones eternal. And always, without fail, those named would die. The famine ended, but fear remained. The villagers obeyed Orica's warnings never to touch the drum. It was guarded by priests, watched by taboos, chained by charms. But fear fades with time. Generations passed. The famine became memory. The rebellion became story. The Iron King became myth. Until one ambitious chief, greedy for power, broke the taboo. His name was Oba Juwon, descendant of the rebels who had slain the Iron King. Unlike his cautious fathers, Juwon was bold. He wanted greatness. He wanted the river to rise higher, the crops to grow richer, his enemies to fall before him. He demanded the priests bring forth the drum. The elders fell to their knees. "Do not! It will bring only death!" But Juwon would not listen. He ordered warriors to drag the drum into the square. He raised his staff high and declared, "Tonight, the cursed drum will serve me. Tonight, it will summon the rain." At midnight, under the swollen moon, the drum was struck. Boom! The ground shook. The torches dimmed. The villagers screamed as a voice, deep and mocking, rolled through the air. Juwon, the chief, froze, his staff slipping from his hand. The drum had not summoned rain, it had summoned death. By dawn, Juwon was found in his hut, chest split wide, heart gone. From that night, the drum was hidden again. But it was no longer silent. Each generation, at least once, it would speak. At least once, it would claim its 12. The curse had outlived kings, priests, and elders. It had outlived famine, drought, and war. It had outlived memory. And now, in Kaio's time, it had awoken once more. Yet here lies the deeper horror. The villagers of Obalanga thought the drum was only a curse, a punishment for cruelty, a relic of vengeance. But they were wrong. For in the shadows of the shrine where it was once kept, in the whispers of the priests who dared not speak truth aloud, there was another story. The drum was not merely cursed. It was alive. The Iron King's spirit had not gone to the ancestors. His rage had bound him to the drum. Each heart it devoured fed him. Each name it spoke gave him strength. Each death was not punishment, it was a meal. And he was growing hungrier. That night, as Caio lay trembling in his mother's hut, clutching a charm of cowries and feathers, he dreamed. He dreamed of a throne of bones. He dreamed of a crown dripping blood. He dreamed of a face, dark, fierce, crowned with iron, eyes like burning coal, and a voice that said, "You are mine."